Right now, in this very moment, you have the power to change your entire life. You have within you the ability to transform your thoughts, your feelings, and your reality simply by changing the words you speak to yourself each morning. Those first moments when you wake up, when your mind is fresh and open, when the day stretches before you like a blank canvas, these are the most important moments of your entire day. Your thoughts create your reality. This is not some mystical concept or wishful thinking. This is the fundamental truth of how life works. Every single thing that happens to you begins first as a thought in your mind. Every success, every failure, every relationship, every opportunity, it all starts with the conversations you have with yourself. Most people wake up and immediately begin the same old mental patterns. They think about their problems, their fears, their limitations. They tell themselves stories about why they can't have what they want, why things are difficult, why life is hard, and then they wonder why their days feel heavy, why their lives seem stuck in the same patterns, why they feel tired before they even begin. But you can be different. You can choose different thoughts. You can speak different words to yourself. You can create a different reality. When you wake up tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, before you think about your to-do list, before you let the world rush in with all its demands and distractions, take a moment to speak 7 simple lines to yourself. These are not just words. These are declarations. These are statements of truth about who you are and what you are capable of creating. The first line you must speak to yourself is this: I am enough exactly as I am right now. Say it out loud. Feel the words in your mouth. Let them sink into your heart. You see, most of us have been programmed from childhood to believe that we need to be different, better, more than what we are to be worthy of love, success, and happiness. We carry around this story that we are somehow lacking, that we need to fix ourselves before we can have what we want. But this is a lie. You are enough right now. You have always been enough. You were born enough. Your worthiness is not something you need to earn or prove. It is your birthright. When you start your day by acknowledging your inherent worth, you set a foundation of self-acceptance that allows everything else in your life to flow more easily. The second line to speak to yourself each morning is, I choose love over fear in every situation today. This is perhaps the most powerful choice you can make. In every moment of every day, you have 2 basic options. You can choose thoughts that come from love, or you can choose thoughts that come from fear. Love thoughts expand you, inspire you, connect you to others, and open you to possibilities. Fear thoughts contract you, limit you, separate you from others, and close you off from opportunities. When you wake up and declare that you will choose love over fear, you are setting an intention for how you will respond to everything that comes your way. You are deciding in advance that you will look for the good, that you will see opportunities instead of obstacles, that you will respond with kindness instead of defensiveness, that you will trust instead of doubt. The third line is, everything I need is already within me. This statement recognizes a profound truth about human nature. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are not at the mercy of other people's decisions. You are not helpless. You have within you right now all the strength, wisdom, creativity, and love that you need to handle whatever life brings your way. Too often we look outside ourselves for answers, for validation, for permission to be who we want to be. We wait for the right opportunity, the right person, the right circumstances. But everything you need to create the life you want is already inside you. It has always been there. Your job is not to go out and find it somewhere else. Your job is to recognize it, nurture it, and express it. The fourth line to speak each morning is, I attract what I am, not what I want. This is a fundamental law of how life works. You don't attract what you want or what you think about occasionally. You attract what you are consistently being. If you want more love in your life, you must become more loving. If you want more abundance, you must cultivate an abundant mindset. If you want more peace, you must become more peaceful yourself. This puts the power entirely in your hands. Instead of trying to manipulate circumstances or convince other people to give you what you want, you focus on becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts those things. When you wake up and remind yourself that you attract what you are, you take responsibility for the energy you bring to the world. The fifth line is, I am grateful for this day and all its possibilities. Gratitude is not just a nice feeling. Gratitude is a creative force. When you begin your day in gratitude, you align yourself with the creative power of the universe. You open your mind to see opportunities that you would otherwise miss. You attract more experiences to be grateful for. But gratitude for this new day goes beyond just being thankful. It's about recognizing that this day is a gift. You have been given another 24 hours to create, to love, to grow, to contribute. This day has never existed before and will never exist again. It is completely unique, full of potential, waiting for you to bring your gifts to it. When you speak this line each morning, you shift from taking your days for granted to recognizing them as the precious opportunities they truly are. You move from a mindset of obligation to a mindset of possibility. The sixth line to declare each morning is, I release all need to control outcomes and trust in the process of life. This might be the most difficult line for many people because we have been taught that we must control everything to be safe and successful. We try to control other people, control circumstances, control outcomes. And when things don't go according to our plans, we feel frustrated, anxious, and defeated. But here's what I want you to understand. You are not in control of outcomes. And that's actually good news. You are in control of your thoughts, your words, your actions, your energy, your responses. You are in control of who you choose to be. But you cannot control how other people respond. You cannot control timing. You cannot control all the variables that affect outcomes. When you release the need to control outcomes, you free yourself from enormous amounts of stress and anxiety. You can put your energy into what you can control, being your best self, and trust that life will take care of the rest. This doesn't mean being passive. It means being actively engaged in doing your part while remaining unattached to specific results. The seventh and final line to speak to yourself each morning is, I am here to give my gifts to the world. You have something unique to offer. There has never been anyone exactly like you before, and there will never be anyone exactly like you again. You have a combination of experiences, perspectives, talents, and love that is completely original. But many people go through their entire lives without ever really giving their gifts. They get caught up in trying to be what others expect them to be, trying to fit in, trying to be safe. They hide their uniqueness instead of celebrating it. They keep their gifts locked away instead of sharing them freely. When you wake up and remind yourself that you are here to give your gifts to the world, you connect with your true purpose. You remember that your life is not just about getting things for yourself. It's about contributing something meaningful. It's about making a difference, however small it might seem. Now, you might be wondering why these 7 lines are so powerful. Why not just think positive thoughts occasionally throughout the day? Why not just try to be optimistic? The answer lies in understanding how your mind works. Your subconscious mind is like a garden. Whatever seeds you plant in it will grow. If you plant seeds of doubt, worry, and limitation, that's what will grow in your life. If you plant seeds of confidence, trust, and possibility, that's what will grow instead. But here's the key. Your subconscious mind is most receptive to new programming in those first moments after you wake up, before your conscious analytical mind takes over. In those first few minutes, you have direct access to your deeper mind. This is when you can most effectively plant new seeds. When you consistently speak these 7 lines to yourself each morning, you are programming your subconscious mind with empowering beliefs. You are literally rewiring your brain for success, happiness, and fulfillment over time. These statements become your automatic way of thinking. They become part of who you are. But let me be clear about something. This is not about positive thinking as a way to avoid reality or pretend the challenges don't exist. This is about choosing which reality you want to create. Challenges will still come. Difficulties will still arise. But when you start each day with these empowering statements, you approach challenges from a position of strength instead of weakness, from confidence instead of fear, from possibility instead of limitation. Let me share with you what happens when you make this a daily practice. First, you'll notice that your mood throughout the day becomes more stable. Instead of being at the mercy of external circumstances, you'll find that you maintain a sense of centeredness and peace, regardless of what's happening around you. Second, you'll start to notice opportunities that were always there, but that you couldn't see before. When your mind is programmed with empowering beliefs, it becomes like a spotlight illuminating possibilities and solutions that were hidden in the shadows of your limiting thoughts. Third, you'll find that your relationships improve. When you start your day by acknowledging your own worth and choosing love over fear, you naturally show up differently in your interactions with others. You'll be less defensive, more generous, more present. People will respond to this energy and want to be around you more. Fourth, you'll begin to trust yourself more. When you consistently remind yourself that everything you need is within you, you'll stop looking to others for validation and permission. You'll make decisions more quickly and confidently. You'll trust your instincts and follow your heart. Fifth, you'll experience more synchronicities and what some people call good luck. This isn't magic. It's simply that when you align your thoughts and energy with positive expectations, you become more aware of opportunities and more likely to take action when they appear. Now, I want to address the skeptics among you who might be thinking, this sounds too simple. How can just saying 7 lines change my life? And I understand your skepticism because we live in a culture that believes that change has to be complicated, difficult, and require enormous effort. But the truth is that the most powerful changes often come from the simplest practices. Think about it. What determines the direction of a massive ship? That's not the size of the ship or the power of the engine. It's a small rudder that can be moved by one person. Your thoughts are the rudder of your life. Small changes in your thinking can create massive changes in your experience. The key is consistency. You can't speak these lines once or twice and expect your life to transform. You must make this a daily practice, just like brushing your teeth or eating breakfast. You must commit to speaking these words to yourself every single morning, regardless of how you feel, regardless of what's happening in your life, regardless of whether you believe them at first. And that's important to understand. You don't have to believe these statements completely when you first start saying them. In fact, if your life has been challenging, you might resist them at first. Your mind might say, this is silly. This isn't true. I'm not enough. I can't trust life. That's normal. That's just your old programming trying to maintain control. But keep saying the lines anyway. Your subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between what's true and what's repeated. It simply accepts as reality whatever you consistently tell it. When you persistently speak these empowering statements, they gradually become your new truth, your new reality. Let me tell you about the science behind this. Neuroscientists have shown us that our brains are constantly rewiring themselves based on our thoughts and experiences. This is called neuroplasticity. Every time you think a thought, you strengthen the neural pathways associated with that thought. The more you repeat a thought pattern, the stronger and more automatic it becomes. This means that your habitual thoughts literally shape the structure of your brain. If you consistently think thoughts of limitation, fear, and inadequacy, you strengthen those neural pathways and make those thoughts more automatic. But if you consistently think thoughts of empowerment, love, and possibility, you strengthen different pathways and make those thoughts more automatic instead. The 7 lines I'm giving you are designed to create new neural pathways aligned with success, happiness, and fulfillment. Each morning when you speak these words, you are literally rewiring your brain for a better life. But beyond the neuroscience, there's something even more profound happening. When you speak these lines, you are connecting with a power greater than your individual self. You are aligning with the creative force of the universe. You are acknowledging that you are part of something magnificent, something purposeful, something loving. You see, most people live their lives as if they are separate from everyone and everything else. They believe they have to struggle and fight and compete to get what they need. They believe that resources are limited, that there's not enough to go around, that someone else's success diminishes their own possibilities. But when you speak these 7 lines each morning, you connect with a different understanding. You realize that you are not separate from the creative power of life. You are an expression of it. You are not competing for limited resources. You are connected to infinite abundance. You are not alone in your struggles. You are supported by the same intelligence that grows flowers and moves planets. This connection gives you access to wisdom, creativity, and solutions that your individual mind could never generate on its own. When you align with this greater power, you become a channel for miracles in your life and in the lives of those around you. Now, let me give you some practical guidance on how to make this work most effectively. First, choose a specific time each morning to speak these lines. I recommend doing this as soon as you wake up, before you get out of bed, before you check your phone, before you start thinking about your day. Make it the very first thing you do. Speak the lines out loud if possible. There's something powerful about hearing your own voice. Declare these truths. If you can't speak out loud because others are sleeping nearby, speak them silently but with intention and feeling. Don't rush through them. Take time with each line. Feel the meaning behind the words. Allow yourself to experience the truth of each statement, even if it's just for a moment. Second, write these lines down and keep them where you can see them. Put them on your bathroom mirror, in your car, on your computer. The more you see these words throughout your day, the more they will become part of your consciousness. Third, be patient with yourself. If you've been thinking limiting thoughts for years or decades, it's going to take time to establish new patterns. Don't expect overnight transformation, but do expect gradual, consistent improvement. Trust the process and stay committed to the practice. Fourth, notice what changes in your life as you continue this practice. Keep a journal if you're inclined to write. Pay attention to shifts in your mood, your relationships, your opportunities, your overall experience of life. Celebrate these changes, no matter how small they might seem. Let me also address what might happen when you first start doing this. You might experience resistance from your old way of thinking. You might have days when you forget to say the lines, or when you say them but don't feel them. You might even have days when your circumstances seem to contradict everything you're declaring. This is all normal and expected. Change is rarely a straight line upward. There will be ups and downs, progress and setbacks. The key is to keep returning to the practice. Keep speaking these lines regardless of what's happening in your external world. Remember, you're not trying to use these statements to avoid problems or pretend that difficulties don't exist. You're using them to maintain your connection to your highest self. Regardless of circumstances, you're choosing to respond to life from a place of strength and wisdom rather than from fear and limitation. And here's something beautiful that will happen as you continue this practice. You'll start to naturally think and speak more positively throughout the day. The empowering beliefs you plant each morning will begin to influence all your thoughts and conversations. You'll find yourself encouraging others, seeing the good in situations, and approaching challenges with confidence and creativity. You'll also become more aware of the thoughts and words of others. You'll notice how often people speak limitation over their lives without realizing it. You'll hear how frequently others declare what they can't do, what's wrong with their lives, why things are difficult, and you'll be amazed that you used to think and speak the same way. This awareness will help you maintain your new patterns. When you hear limiting thoughts and words from others instead of being pulled into their negativity, you'll be reminded of the power of choosing different thoughts and words. One of the most beautiful aspects of this practice is that it doesn't require you to change your entire life all at once. You don't need to quit your job, move to a different city, or make dramatic changes to see results. You simply need to change how you start each day, and that change will gradually transform everything else. Your 7 lines each morning become like drops of water on a stone. One drop doesn't seem to make any difference, but thousands of drops over time can wear away the hardest rock. Your consistent morning declarations will gradually wear away the limiting beliefs that have been holding you back and replace them with empowering truths that set you free. Think about what your life could look like 6 months from now if you commit to this practice. Think about waking up each day feeling confident and excited about the possibilities ahead of you. Think about approaching challenges with curiosity instead of anxiety. About responding to difficult people with compassion instead of defensiveness. About trusting in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. Think about the relationships you could create when you no longer need others to validate your worth. Think about the opportunities you might pursue when you're no longer afraid of failure. Think about the contributions you could make when you're connected to your unique gifts and purpose. This is not fantasy or wishful thinking. This is what becomes possible when you consistently program your mind with empowering beliefs. This is what happens when you choose to start each day by connecting with the truth of who you really are. The 7 lines I've shared with you are not magic formulas. They are reminders of truths that have always existed within you. They are ways of reconnecting with your authentic self, your highest nature, your unlimited potential. You came into this world with infinite possibilities. You were born with capacity for love, creativity, wisdom, and contribution. But somewhere along the way, you may have forgotten this truth. You may have accepted limitations that were never really yours. You may have believed stories about yourself that were never true. These 7 lines are your daily invitation to remember who you really are. They are your opportunity to reclaim your power, to reconnect with your purpose, to recreate your reality. So tomorrow morning when you wake up, before you do anything else, speak these 7 lines to yourself. I am enough exactly as I am right now. I choose love over fear in every situation today. Everything I need is already within me. I attract what I am, not what I want. I am grateful for this day and all its possibilities. I release all need to control outcomes and trust in the process of life. I am here to give my gifts to the world. Speak them with conviction. Speak them with feeling. Speak them as declarations of truth, not as hopes or wishes. And then watch as your life begins to transform in ways that will amaze and delight you. Your life is waiting for you to claim it. Your potential is waiting for you to express it. Your gifts are waiting for you to share them. It all begins with 7 simple lines spoken to yourself each morning. It all begins with your decision to start your days by connecting with the magnificent truth of who you really are. The power to change your life is in your hands right now. The ability to create the experiences you want is available to you this very moment. All you have to do is choose different thoughts, speak different words, and align with the unlimited possibilities that exist within you. Your journey to a transformed life begins tomorrow morning with 7 simple lines. Make the commitment now. Your future self is counting on you. There's something magical that happens when you become consistent with this practice. After about 30 days of speaking these 7 lines every morning, you'll notice that your entire energy field begins to shift. People will comment that you seem different, more peaceful, more confident. You won't be trying to impress anyone or prove anything to anyone. You'll simply be operating from a different frequency, a higher vibration that naturally attracts better experiences. This shift happens because you've literally been reprogramming your subconscious mind to operate from abundance instead of scarcity, from love instead of fear, from possibility instead of limitation. Your subconscious doesn't know the difference between what you tell it and what actually happened. It simply accepts what you consistently feed it as reality and then works to create experiences that match that reality. When you consistently tell your subconscious that you are enough, that you choose love, that everything you need is within you, that you attract what you are, that you are grateful, that you trust life, and that you're here to give your gifts, your subconscious begins to filter all your experiences through these beliefs. It starts to notice evidence that supports these statements and filters out evidence that contradicts them. This is not about denial or ignoring problems. This is about training your mind to look for solutions instead of focusing on obstacles. When you encounter a challenge, instead of immediately thinking, "Why is this happening to me?" or "I can't handle this," your mind will automatically start looking for ways to grow from the experience, ways to use it as an opportunity to express your gifts, ways to respond with love instead of fear. The people in your life will begin to respond differently to you as well. When you stop looking to others to fill the empty spaces in your life, when you stop needing their approval to feel worthy, when you stop trying to control their behavior to make yourself feel safe, they have room to actually love you and appreciate you for who you are. Many people spend their entire lives in relationships where they're trying to get something from the other person: validation, security, entertainment, purpose. But when you start each day by connecting with your own completeness, your relationships transform from neediness to appreciation, from taking to giving, from fear to love. Your work life will also begin to shift in remarkable ways. When you consistently remind yourself that you have gifts to give to the world, you'll find yourself naturally looking for ways to contribute more meaningfully in whatever you're doing. You might not change jobs immediately, but you'll start bringing a different energy to the work you're already doing. You'll begin to see your current position as a training ground, a place to practice expressing your highest self. You'll look for ways to serve others, to solve problems creatively, to bring more joy and efficiency to your workplace. And when you consistently operate from this energy of service and contribution, opportunities for advancement or new possibilities will naturally begin to appear. This is the law of giving and receiving in action. When you focus on what you can give, life finds ways to give back to you. But it doesn't happen because you're trying to manipulate outcomes. It happens because you've aligned yourself with the natural flow of abundance in the universe. Let me share something with you about timing that many people don't understand. When you begin this practice, you might not see immediate external changes in your life. You might still have the same job, the same relationships, the same living situation, and you might wonder if the practice is actually working. But internal transformation always precedes external transformation. The changes are happening inside you first in ways that you might not even be consciously aware of. You're developing new neural pathways, new emotional responses, new ways of perceiving and interpreting your experiences. These internal changes are like seeds planted in rich soil. You can't see what's happening underground, but there's tremendous growth and development taking place. And when the timing is right, when you've reached a certain level of inner transformation, the external changes will begin to manifest in ways that might surprise you. Trust this process. Don't judge the effectiveness of your morning declarations based on whether your external circumstances change immediately. Judge them based on how you feel throughout your days, how you respond to challenges, how you treat the people in your life, how much peace and joy you experience moment to moment. Here's another important aspect of this practice that I want you to understand. It works best when you approach it with a sense of play and lightness rather than with intense seriousness or desperation. If you speak these lines each morning with a heavy energy of "I have to make this work because my life is falling apart," you're actually contradicting the very messages you're trying to install. Instead, approach your 7 lines with curiosity and gentle expectation. Think of it as an experiment in consciousness. You're testing what happens when you consistently choose empowering thoughts over limiting ones. You're exploring what becomes possible when you align your mind with love, abundance, and possibility. This playful approach keeps you from becoming attached to specific outcomes and timelines, which is actually crucial for allowing the transformations to unfold naturally. When you're desperately attached to making something happen, you create resistance. When you're gently expectant and open to possibilities, you create flow. There will be mornings when you don't feel like saying the lines. You might wake up in a bad mood, dealing with a crisis, or simply feeling resistant to the practice. These are actually the most important times to speak your 7 lines. This is when your old programming is fighting hardest to maintain control. And this is when your commitment to new patterns is most crucial. On these difficult mornings, you don't have to feel the truth of the statements. You don't have to believe them completely. You simply need to say them. Think of it as taking your mental vitamins. Even when you don't feel like taking vitamins for your physical health, you take them anyway because you know they're good for you. Treat your 7 lines the same way. The cumulative effect of consistent practice, even on the days when you don't feel like doing it, is what creates lasting transformation. Every single time you choose to speak these empowering words, instead of defaulting to old mental patterns, you're strengthening new neural pathways and weakening old ones. As you continue this practice over months and years, you'll begin to understand something profound about the nature of reality. You'll realize that there's no fixed objective reality out there that you're simply responding to. You'll understand that reality is much more fluid and responsive to consciousness than you previously believed. Your thoughts, emotions, and expectations are constantly interacting with the field of possibility around you, influencing what opportunities appear, what people come into your life, what solutions present themselves to your challenges. When you consistently program your consciousness with empowering beliefs, you literally begin to live in a different reality than someone who programs their consciousness with limiting beliefs. This understanding will give you tremendous confidence in your ability to create positive change in your life. You'll realize that you're not at the mercy of random circumstances or other people's decisions. You're an active participant in creating your experience through the consciousness you choose to cultivate. Your 7 morning lines become your daily tool for consciously participating in the creation of your reality. They're your way of setting the frequency you want to broadcast into the world and the frequency you want to attract back to you. Remember, this practice is not about perfection. You don't need to say the lines at exactly the same time every morning. You don't need to feel completely positive all day long. You don't need to never have another negative thought or challenging experience. You simply need to consistently return to these empowering statements each morning as your foundation. This practice is about progress, not perfection. It's about gradually shifting the dominant patterns of your consciousness in a more positive direction. It's about training your mind to default to empowerment instead of limitation, to love instead of fear, to possibility instead of impossibility. Every morning that you speak these 7 lines, you're making a deposit in the bank account of your consciousness. Over time, these deposits compound, creating a wealth of positive mental and emotional resources that you can draw upon whenever you need them. Your transformed life is not waiting for you somewhere in the future. It's available to you right now in this moment through the thoughts you choose to think and the words you choose to speak to yourself. Your 7 lines each morning are your daily invitation to step into that transformed life one declaration at a time.